Do you really need to go to university in order to become a designer? Let's find out in this video. So over the years, I received many messages from designers out there who were asking me this question. So I finally want to address it. And having been to university myself, I think I'm qualified to give you a objective and also subjective answer. And by the way, before we get started, I just released a new UI UX design course, so feel free to check it out in the link in the description. But now let's go right back to the video. Now it's been a while, but I actually took a BA in graphic design at Ravensbourne University in London, and that was almost 7 years ago. So my experience overall was positive, but I can tell you that you can definitely become a designer even if you don't have a BA degree or you don't attend university, since I strongly believe that at the end of the day a lot of it comes down to the experience, and the most important part of your design career is actually getting yourself in a position where you can get that experience, and you can easily do so by taking a course or being mentored by someone, ideally both. And then once you have a base knowledge and a basic understanding of design, also a portfolio which is going to enable you to get that first small job or internship, that's where all of the magic happens, because during the first 1 and 2 years, you're going to learn so much. You're just going to be like a sponge. So it's going to really be a great experience, and you're going to learn a lot in a very short amount of time. But before you get yourself in that position, you have to understand the basics of design. So things like color, typography, and all of the basic elements, as well as your field of specialization. So if you're specializing in web design, you need to have an understanding of that space. And if you're specializing in UI UX design, you have to know the basic theory and practice of UI UX design. So once that is consolidated and you have a basic understanding of those areas, you will need a design portfolio, since that is going to enable you to get that foot in the door. And the design portfolio, for the very most part, when you're first starting out, I always recommend to have either side projects or projects that you're making up, because at the beginning you don't really have any clients, so that's going to be the way that you're going to start with. And then once you have a basic portfolio, I would just do any type of project, and being free or paid, really, because all that matters is to build up that portfolio, that credibility, and that experience. And trust me, guys, experience is going to pay so many dividends across your career that, even if you're doing some projects for free at the beginning, it really doesn't matter. But then essentially, once you get to that point, you can get your first internship, then your first job, and then it snowballs from there, meaning that it just becomes easier and easier and easier, and you're just going to get to a point where you're actually going to have as much experience as someone who graduated with a BA. So keep this in mind. I think that a university degree is great to if you have a lot of time and also resources available, but it's definitely not something which is compulsory to have, especially since you have to consider the fact that normally it would take you 3 years in order to complete that degree. But there's definitely ways around getting that experience faster. So in my personal opinion, if you're actually dedicating 1 year studying, for example, UI UX design full time, and by the end of the year you create that initial portfolio, and then you spend the next 2 years just going hardcore on the design experience, I think that by the end of the third year, you're actually going to be in an advantage point, but that's just my personal opinion. With that being said, one thing is 100% sure, and that is that you absolutely do not need a degree in order to get started in UI UX design nor reach really high levels. Now, one small disclaimer is that if you're working at large corporations, usually there's going to be some requirements of degrees in those type of environments. So in that case, it might be helpful for sure, but I don't think it's absolutely required, and you can definitely make a really good living even by not working for a big corporation or those type of companies. You can just be a freelancer or just work at jobs where there aren't really strict requirements when it comes to hiring. So, and you can still make really, really good money. So definitely keep that in mind and don't see it as a big limitation. So hope this video was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.